We're back. Now, the Connecticut Compromise, this basically, they debated those two plans back and forth literally for weeks, okay? Each state expounding on the virtues and all this sort of stuff. Well, finally, a delegate from Connecticut, and it's called the Great Compromise, but it was brought forth by a delegate from Connecticut that essentially said, hey, let's just take the best parts of both and make it happen, all right? So basically we've got, they said let's do bicameral legislature, okay? Well, it's a compromise. New Jersey wanted a unicameral legislature, and so they said, okay, we can do a bicameral. So with bicameral, it's established the way the Connecticut Compromise is, we have two levels of Congress. We have the upper house and the lower house. The upper house represents the states. The lower house represents the people. So House of Representatives, that's the lower house. It has a representation based on population. Each state's guaranteed to have one representative. Yes, sir?
Forms or fees for devices?
No one has their forms. Does anybody have their fees? Okay, let's talk about Connecticut Compromise. Okay, so the House of Representatives is representation based on population. The House of Representatives represents the people. The representatives are more responsive to the population because you're going to have multiple representatives from most states, except for those 6 that only have one representative. Every state's guaranteed to have a representative in Congress. Okay, Mississippi has 4. Okay. Again, there's six states that only have 1 because they have very, very small populations. Mississippi, we're toward the lower end, but we're middle of the road as far as population goes. Okay, the Senate has equal representation of all states. The Senate represents the states. Okay, and initially the senators were not chosen by us, the voters. They were chosen indirectly by people that we voted for. Okay, the state legislatures initially chose the senators, and the Senate, that's called the upper house. And of course, they established different length of terms. What's the length of a term in the House of Representatives?
2 years.
2 years. So every 2 years, every member of the House of Representatives comes up for re-election. Okay, what's a term in the Senate?
6 years.
6 years. It is the longest elected term in the government. Okay. And so, and it's actually a rotating every 2 years, 1/3 of the Senate comes up for re-election. Okay, and that's the way that works. Okay, but the Connecticut Compromise, this settles the representation issue. So all states have an equal voice in the Senate, but those states that are more populous have more voice in the House of Representatives. For instance, which state has the loudest voice in the House of Representatives today?
California.
It is California. Okay? California has 52 representatives. Okay? We've got 4. Who's louder in the House of Representatives? Okay?